and welcome to ACS Golf and this week's review. I do apologise for my voice in this video, by the way. Just got back from holiday and unfortunately I picked something up on the plane back. But as always, I need to make sure I get you guys your weekly golf review, so the show must go on. And the review this week is this: the Vega Alcor wedge. Now, if you've never heard of Vega, they are a premium Japanese forged brand. Very expensive, really. I mean, if you're looking at this current model, you're talking £249 in the UK and $322 in the US. Now, this is a current model, and so normally with current models, I do release them on Friday and not a Sunday UK in the UK time. But because this actually has been out for a few years, this is why I'm doing it on a Sunday and not a Friday. But there you go, a little bit about Vega themselves. They've also been really trying to push themselves over here in the UK. I mean, you've got big online retailers like Scottsdale who you can actually pick Vega clubs up from. And a lot of YouTubers at the end of last year, so 2023, did a lot of reviews on their newer stuff. So obviously really trying to, push the brand. And straight off the bat, I'm going to say it's a really good brand. But you've got to be thinking about that price. Because, that price of £249 for one wedge. Titleist new ones cheaper, TaylorMade cheaper, all the big brands, Pings, etc. They are cheaper. I mean, Cleveland, I think you can probably even pick up, maybe if you pick up in a sale, pick up two for the same price, which is one of these. So it does make you think, is it worth it? Now, maybe not full price, but on the second-hand market, definitely here in the UK, I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but in the UK, these do not do well. So you can pick one up in a really good condition for potentially an excellent price. And that's why I wanted to do the review for you guys today, to show you that yes, this is a premium brand. We'll get into the feel and the ACS Golf Scale at the end, but you don't necessarily need to pick it up at a premium price if you're happy to pick it up secondhand. So definitely food for thought there. So there you go. Now, as always, we're going to have a closer look at this, let's be honest, slightly weird looking wedge. Then we'll come back here, I'll go through all the technology that's in the club. Then I'm going to get down to the course, actually, show you a few chips, talk to you about what I enjoy about this club, and obviously just mention distances and things like that. And then we'll get back here for the ACS Golf Scale. All right, now let's have a closer look at this club. So there you go. And to be honest, I really don't think it's a bad looking wedge, to be fair. I really don't. I think it looks pretty good. Feeling it as well, it definitely feels very premium, especially with the weight and the club head as well, which I actually quite like. I quite like a weighty club head, to be fair, especially when it comes down to wedges. That's why I'm using them chip around the green. So let's go into all the technology from Vega themselves on their website. So first off, the details. So the new Vega Alcor wedge is made from one-piece forged S25C carbon steel for the feel and consistency you've come to take for granted with Vega wedges, with a CNC spin milled face for extra spin and complete control. Great. And you can actually see the milling on the face if you got closer to it. You've got distinctive milling to the head, moves the center of gravity higher in the face for a lower flight. Interesting. Unique sole grind reduces drag through the rough and sand, and weight removal and repositioning ensures the sweet spot is perfectly central in the face. That's good. As long as you're hitting the center of the face, obviously you're hitting it all over the place, then that's not great. It doesn't really matter what the sweet spot then is, it does it, to be fair. But anyway, the new reverse CNC spin milling to the face of the Alcor wedge gives unsurpassed backspin, and super soft one-piece carbon steel gives an amazing feel. So that's great. I mean, if they're talking here about lower launch, which not necessarily you want with a wedge. Really, with a wedge, you want it to be able to stop there. The idea then, all right, if there is a lower launch, increase the spin, which will probably still get the same height, and means it stops more, and you get maybe that backspin. So potentially not a bad thing there at all. So if we keep on going down, We'll go through a little bit more of the technology in a little bit more detail now here. So the Forge S25C carbon steel, unique sole grind, reduces drag through the rough and the sand. You sort of got that there. There you go. And then we got their center of gravity. So they're saying here that the leading competitor, I just realised the screen moves when on the website, that's annoying, and it goes back to exactly what it was before. They're saying the leading competitor's sweet spots are here, while they've moved theirs right in the middle. I wonder how tight this would say to that, but anyway. And the idea is where the centre of gravity is. So, raising the CG higher up increases spin rate, moving the weight to the toe makes it easier to square the club up and hit precision shots. So they're saying down here is not good, but up here where they've got it right in the middle of the club, closer to the toe, higher up the face, more spin, better control. Fair enough. And then we get into the Alcor construction. We've got the unique sole grind ensures a clean contact from all eyes, along with it's really annoying, it keeps on going, along with the perfect bounce to ensure exceptional performance from the bunker and ability to open the face for those short lob shots around the green. Lovely. Lines are angled and sized to allow higher mass weight in the toe. So basically this is actually them just removing weight and then moving it around the club face to get that CG up and obviously to get that performance they want from it, which also gives it quite an interesting look, to be fair. Cut lines become deeper towards the bottom. Again, there you go, just moving away that mass. Our new reverse CNC milling to the face is coming back in a second. It gives unsurpassed backspin and a super soft one piece. Again, carbon still makes it feel amazing. So there you go. So quite an interesting way they've done there, with removing these grooves to change the weight and move it around. Quite an interesting technique. Never really seen it before in other wedges. Going into specifications for this, you can get fitted for these. You can actually do it online. You can go to a stockist and get fitted. Like I said, they are in the UK. There is custom fit available, but they don't offer a load of grinds, unlike sort of Titleist, for example, that now offer loads of grinds, loads of bounce, etc. You get stock. So basically, I'll go for the loft set and I'll tell you what the bounce are, for example. So the loft at 48 degrees, you have a bounce of 7. 50 degrees, you have a bounce of 6, which for me is perfect, happy with that. 52 degrees, you have a bounce of 8. 54 degrees, you have a bounce of 10. 56 degrees, bounce of 12. 58 degrees, bounce of 8. 60 degrees, bounce of 10. And 62 degrees, bounce of 12. So pretty much regular in what your normal sort of average person will be looking for. But if you want something a bit more specific, then maybe you can't get it. I mean, for example, a 60 degree, personally, normally I use an 8 bounce. So 10, I could get on with it and it'll probably work absolutely fine, but I'm normally used to an 8 bounce. For 56, 12, I'm really happy with that. And then for this, I've been using it for months and I'm really happy with it. So there you go. Now, let's get down to the course. I'll go through a bit more what I like about this club, and then we'll come back here for the ACS Golf Scale. All right, see you in a bit. So here I am down at Hersham with the Vega Alcor wedge. Now here's a full shot for you, and then I'll go into sort of a lot more just shots of me chipping around the green. Now when it comes down to distance, I'm never really too fussed about that with a wedge because, if your 50 degree doesn't go far enough, then you can try 48 degree. If your 48 doesn't go far enough, or for example, or your 50 goes too far, you can try 52 degrees. So I'm never really that fussed about the distance, but I will say for me, in a 50 degree normal wedge, I'd expect it to be around that 100-yard mark, and that's exactly what this club is. It is my 100-yard club. Very consistent with it, which is great. I can push it to about 105 or maybe a little bit more if needed, but overall very happy. Now coming down to chipping, it's the versatility of it, and that sole means I can chip it out the rough, I can chip it on the fairway, really anywhere around the green. I can get exactly the same results where I pop it up in the air a little bit and get it to run on. So very happy with the versatility of this club. Also really happy with the feel, that really soft buttery feel which I sort of want personally. Really does help me to control it around the greens, and I find it's definitely helped me with my chipping over the years. Another thing I'll say about it as well is it definitely does have a bit of stopping power. If I hit it right and get the ball up in the air, don't get me wrong, it's not going to go as high as a 60 or a 56-degree wedge, but if I do it right, I can pinpoint exactly where I need to hit it on the green, and then I have full confidence of it, hitting a little bit of spin and stopping exactly where I need it to be, which overall has definitely helped my putting and is actually really great, especially here when I need to get it over, slightly get it over a bunker, out of the rough, knowing full confidence that I can get it up there and then get it to stop where I need to hopefully, recover and make par. So there you go. And as mentioned, out on the golf course, I love the feel of this. And I really do enjoy using my gap wedge for chipping. I mean, yes, I could use my 60, I could use my 56, and I do sometimes if I need that extra height, will pull out the 60-degree. But for me, just having a stronger lofted club like this 50-degree, I'm less likely to get underneath the ball and perhaps, just fat it, a couple of yards in front of me. I much prefer having a bit more control. Yes, the ball flight's a little bit lower and I might not get the stopping distance I want, especially if I'm trying to go over a bunker and the pin is right behind it. But in the end of the day, I can work around it. I like the versatility of it. And so I'm very happy with using this as my main chipper. Always have done. And really, to be fair, the results recently anyway have really been helping me personally dropping my handicap rather than trying to faff around with a 60-degree all the time. Don't get me wrong, I still use a 60 out of the bunkers, shots in, 50-yard shots in, etc. But when I'm a little bit closer around the green, I much prefer to use this as the chipping, my main chipper, basically. So there you go. Now, let's get into the ACS Golf Scale. If you're new to the channel, remember it's distance, feel, looks, price, and forgiveness. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. Going into distance, for me, distance when it comes down to wedges is a little bit irrelevant because I feel like if you're gapping for those distances, you'll get a 48 or you'll get a 50. You can specifically basically pick the degrees that you want to produce that distance that you need. It's not necessarily, oh, this club goes this long and this club goes that long. And you look at, comparing irons nowadays, and they go, oh, my 7-iron goes this long, but your 7-iron goes only that far. And then you look at the lofts and then you find that that person's 7-iron is actually 28 degrees and yours is 32 degrees. So really, for me, I'm never too worried, to be honest, about the distances because, again, you can change the degrees to get the distance you want. But I will always say, if something for some reason came out really far and was always going miles or didn't go anywhere, I would mention it. But for this, it was exactly what I want, around that 105 yards total distance or around 100 yards total distance. For me, perfect. So 2.5 out of 5 because it does exactly what I needed to do. So there you go. Feel I will leave to last because that for me is a party piece about this. Well, wedge. I was going to say iron there, wedge. Moving on to looks, I've given this a 4 out of 5. I like the curvature of it. Actually quite like the back here. The top line is not the thinnest either. It's relatively quite thick-ish. Don't get me wrong, it's not. It's Cleveland CBX. It's not a high toe or like your Mac. I think it's your Mac Daddies for Callaway. Your big forgiving ones, but it's not a thin line there. So you do have some forgiveness in there. You do have some, inspiring forgiveness. So you look down at it and don't think, oh my God, if I blade this or do something, well, hopefully you don't blade it. That's the worst you can do with a wedge, blade it. But, you don't think, oh, this is going to break my hand if I miss the center of the face. So really do like the look of it. I think it's a very good looking wedge. So I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. And that moves us quite nicely onto, can't get my words out today, onto forgiveness. Forgiveness, I've given this a 3.5 out of 5. I really do think it is a forgiving club. It's not, like I've said, it's not a CBX. It's not the most forgiving wedges out there. But I think it's for what it is, it's relatively good forgiveness. So 3.5. I mean, when it comes down to wedges, you don't really talk about forgiveness too much because in the end of the day, it's your shortest club. You're going to find it the easiest really to hit the middle of it. And your distances you're talking about, if you don't hit it right, you might have a few yards dropped off, but because it's not going to get that far in the first place, you're not really going to notice that much. So For me, I'm not really too worried too much about forgiveness unless it's like an actual thin piece of paper and you have to hit the middle of it. But most wedges aren't like that. Most wedges, including your Titleist, SM10s, the brand new ones, or SM9s or SM8s, they still, even though the pros use them, they still have good amount of forgiveness because they're able to do that, and that's what they do. So for me, 3.5 out of 5 for this. I think it's got some good forgiveness, and just being a little bit more chunky than your sort of maybe my MG2s that I have in the bag here. So there you go. Now we'll go on to feel before we get on to price. So feel, I've given this 5 out of 5. The forged feel of this is second to none. I love the feel around the greens. I really do enjoy the full hits. I know when I've not hit it that well, when it's slightly off center. Again, I'm not that punished by it, but I do know. But when I hit it straight out the middle, it feels beautiful, buttery, soft. Exactly what a forged iron for me should feel like. I've done the Pin Glide forged. I used to play with them, which again were very nice out the middle. Really up there as well for feeling. But for me, if you're looking for one of the better feeling or best feeling wedges out there, when it comes down to that forged soft feel, don't get me wrong, some people might prefer a different feel for their wedges, like Titleist maybe a little bit stronger, a bit harder, but again, great feeling. But for me, that butter soft feel that I want from sort of the wedge that I'm doing majority of my chipping with, this is fantastic. So I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Exactly what they wanted with that CNC milled, with that forged construction. It is beautiful. So 5 out of 5, and it is rare that I give something 5 out of 5. But for me, out of all the wedges I've tried over the past, this is definitely the best feeling one. So that is good. Now on to price. And I will mention after this about spin rates and what I think of this as well, just to let you know, because I don't normally do a category about that. So I will just touch on it after this. But price. Brand new, I've given this price a 1.5 out of 5, because brand new, I just don't understand why you personally would go out and spend £249 on a brand new wedge, or $322 on one wedge. Don't get me wrong, as really good it is, as really good feeling it is, the versatility of it, etc., the looks, it's just not worth it in my mind. Like, go get yourself a brand new, Vokey SM10, which is like, Titleist best wedges out there. Go get yourself the TaylorMade MG4s, new ones. Go get yourself the new Cleveland RTXs. Go get yourself the new Pin Glides. There's so many amazing options out there from some of the bigger brands, which, you're saving yourself 50, 60 pounds, 70 pounds, 80 pounds, and even 100 pounds, over 100 pounds if you're looking at the Clevelands, and that can go to lessons, or that can go to another club and towards another wedge, for crying out loud. So for me, price brand new, I'm giving it 1.5. Don't get me wrong, it feels premium, it looks premium, but I just think your money personally is spent better elsewhere. However, second hand, second hand, second hand, this is a 4 out of 5. Because, as I mentioned before at the beginning of this video, a lot of people think about Vega and they do not hold their price well at all. Prime examples, their drivers as well. I want to get my hands on one this year to test for you guys. Again, they drop drastically from a really quite high price. And it's the same with this. So this is, brand new, £249. I've seen ones in very good condition that have got years and years left in them, going for £75. That was a 52 degree. 56 degree going for £70. So that's around $90 for the both. It's crazy. So hold on, you've just gone from £250, well, just under £250, only £70, something's been used maybe 5 to 10 times on a golf course. Bargain, 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 bargain. And that's why I've given it a 4 out of 5, because on the second-hand market, this at the moment is a steal. And if you look at other Vega wedges that's been out there, which again, all right, they don't maybe have all the same technology in there, but they'll have the CNC milled face, still forged in Japan, and some of them are going for like £35, which is under $50. For wedges that look good, that feel great, they're going to perform, absolute bargain. And that is why I've given it a 4 out of 5. in the second-hand market. If it was around 50 quid for these, then it'll be a 5 out of 5, to be honest, only because it's a little bit higher. You know, you can normally get Cleveland's a little bit cheaper, and that's why it's that mark there of 4 out of 5. But believe me, I personally think it's an absolute bargain on the second-hand market. If you can get these around that £70 mark, so around the $90 mark, and you're looking for a new wedge to give a go, and the grooves are in good condition, and the whole thing's in good condition, you're happy with the bounce, remember to check the website just to make sure you remember what that bounce is. I think it's a great bargain. You know, it's their own shafts, their own grip. I do have someone else, they did replace the grip on this one to a mid-size, which I love, to be fair. But anyway, you know, it's all premium stuff, so it's definitely worth it. Now, just to touch on the spin, obviously I don't have the technology to necessarily get all the spin numbers for you guys, but one thing I will say, this definitely spins in my mind just as well as my MG2s. You know, down on the golf course, you know, the stopping power of this is really good. If I hit a full shot, it doesn't go anywhere. I don't swing quick enough really to get it coming back, or hit the ball probably well enough to get it coming back. You know, it's very rare that I'll have a ball sort of spin back. But for me, the idea is I get it to stop, and I can get it to stop this perfectly. Just like my MG2s, you know, the tailor-made ones, I can get this to stop. The spin for me is great. You know, and also, you know, down the range, sometimes you hit a ball and it does even show on the monitor that it's gone back because you've got the spin up on it. So for me, from what I've seen and compared to other wedges that I've tested, I think the spin rate on this is very good. You know, if you're looking for something, if you're like me, you know, you hit your 50 degree about 100 yards, 105 yards, you know, so that sort of swing speed, you know, this will definitely have enough spin on it and enough stopping power for you to hit it, get it on the green, and stop. Am I going to say it's going to be spinning more than the brand new Vokey SM10s? Probably not. You know, I don't think anything's really up there. I think the MG4s are, actually, to be fair. But overall, I think it's great. It does exactly what it needs to do, and it definitely does have good spin numbers. So there you go, guys. Apologies again for the voice, but I still hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below in the comments if you played Vega before, you know, and if you have, what do you think of them as a brand? Personally, if it's just down the wedges, I think they're very good. I'm very interested to get my hands on a bit more of their equipment to test over the next year as well, to be honest. Also, remember to subscribe to the channel for weekly golf reviews, and also, you know, the odd other extra video thrown in there as well, which, you know, there will be a good few coming up over the next couple of months. So I do not want you to miss out. So do remember to hit that subscribe button. Okay, guys, I will see you next week. Well, hopefully I'll be talking normally again. All right, see you then. Bye-bye.